everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Design Therapy. I'm your host, Cassie Patterson, a creative designer and brand strategist in Nashville, Tennessee. And this is your all things inspirational, experimental, and just finding that artist within conversations. And on this episode, I have an amazing photographer here in Nashville. Alex, welcome to the episode.
Hello.
Hi. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm surviving.
Oh yeah. I think we all are.
I know. I'm just adjusting my life and figuring out, what works for me right now. It's a day-to-day kind of experiment.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No one's ready for this, so we're just going through the motion, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, let's just jump right into it. Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about who you are, what you do, and a little bit about your journey?
Okay. My name's Alex Ciaramitaro. I'm 25 years old, born and raised in Tennessee. I don't have a Southern twang because my parents were from Detroit. And basically, I'm in the medical field right now, full time. But then I do like freelance photography and social media stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked with Amazon. I've worked with CMA Fest. I've worked with like Trace Cyrus, which is Miley's brother. I've worked for Hendrick's Gin, George Dick Whiskey, and all different companies and brands throughout the years, and it's been fun. And mostly all my stuff's kind of like Instagram based, I think, along with everyone else. But I do appreciate Instagram as a whole because I've cultivated this whole community, and that's where I've got the majority of my friendship throughout, and most of my too.
I love that. Have you always felt like you've been like a photographer? You've always had that bug inside of you, like, since from a young age, or did you kind of cultivate that as an older adult? Like,
I've always had a camera. So since I was in kindergarten, like I don't know what it was called. It was like a Nickelodeon slime cam camera.
With the film?
Yeah, exactly. So I got some in the attic somewhere. I've got like these little square photos of my friends like on the playground, like playing with bugs.
That is awesome.
So I've always had a camera. In high school, when I got up there, I was more into video and like creating music videos or funny bits and all that sort of stuff. And then when I got out of high school, that's when Instagram came about, and I wanted it to be different than, all your other social media. And it's like, everyone's just posting selfies and all this crap. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to post like photos that I think look good or whatnot. So, started doing that. And then Instagram had promoted these things called Insta Meets, which is just Instagram meetups, and it's local creatives and photographers. And I kept looking to see if Nashville was hosting one, and I just couldn't find one. So I was like, well, I just grabbed a friend. I was like, hey, do you want to like do this with me? Because I'm like, if I can't find one, like I might as well just make one. So we did our first one. I had about 8 people come out, and then I had a ton of people afterwards like, oh, when's the next one going to be? When's the next one? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I think it was like one time.
Got thrown into it.
Yeah. So then I started doing it monthly, and I would pick a different town or city in Tennessee here and do that. But that's when I was like really getting kind of into photography, because I was there, I'm the host and I've got my iPhone and I'm just walking around.
Yeah.
But everyone's coming with their gear, with all the cameras. I'm like, oh, maybe I got to step up a little bit. Everyone looks so professional, and I'm like, here I am. But so I took it more seriously that way. I don't ever really consider myself a photographer first.
What do you consider yourself? What do you like as an artist? How do you start identifying yourself as a creator?
Yeah, I want to say it's like I do enjoy photography, but it's like I really enjoy editing. Kind of manipulating the photo. It's like, it's not like I'm just slapping a filter on. It's like I'm zooming in as far as possible and removing this mailbox and this tree in the back. Like I'm doing so much to it, and just to see how many layers I can create for one photo and like perfect it to my eye. That's what I enjoy about it. And it's like, I don't even know if I want to label myself as an editor either, because I'm just like, I don't know how to label myself for this.
Does it ever drive you crazy when you're looking at other photos? You're like, man, they should have taken that out and they should have taken that out, and
Oh, like other people's or my own?
other people's. Like if you see it's like kind of plastered everywhere, you're like, man, that would have looked so much better without that red mailbox in the background.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's like I could sit there and look at something and like, I know that this is supposed to be the focus of the image, but I'm like, well, this little thing's kind of drawing my eye towards it. So I would say, yes, I could pick out some things and be like, oh, this would be better that way. But then also, whatever, art is interpretive. So
It is.
it could have been intentional for them to keep that in there for whatever reason. And
Yeah.
I was not interpreting it that way.
I love that. Well, what is like your favorite medium to photograph right now? Like, you know, you have like a different aspects that you focus on. Is it like nature? Is it city? Is it people? Is it experiences? Like, what is your favorite genre to capture?
At first it was just landscape stuff, and it's like whatever I was going about. And then when I started doing the meetups, it was more so like the people and like the experiences that I had with them, and then telling a story about each one and be like, oh, me and Karen, or me and Catherine, or me and John, and we all did this today, and this is a funny story attached to it, you know, because you can't show everything in that one photo.
Yeah.
But just the experience behind it. I more so recently, just because of a global pandemic, it's like I've been doing more self-portraits, which have been interesting and challenging.
They're great.
Oh, thank you. I was really trying to go for a completely different vibe from my other stuff, and I'm using a different camera for it. I'm using a different editing software and just trying to create something different. But it's just like, okay, I gotta set up a tripod, I gotta do a timer, and then I'm like, gotta after.
You don't say like capture. This is me outside with my tripod. Capture. Capture.
Oh, you can do that? You can talk to it?
My Android, yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
I was like, I don't use an actual like full on. I use my Android, and when I literally take it out there with me and my tripod, I'm like, people look at me like, what is she doing?
So I found out recently that I can do it with the iPhone. Is like, I guess you could prop it up, and then if you have like an Apple Watch, you can like tap on it. And then
I wonder if I can connect it.
Maybe. So it will. I think it's like 3 seconds or 10 seconds or whatnot. But I've been using my camera, and I've got probably like a little bit of an older camera, so I'm sure there's a newer one where, I don't know, there's a Bluetooth fob or something I can press. But that's what I've been doing. So just changing it up, trying to keep myself, I guess.
Well, it shares a little bit about the artist behind the work. You know, I talked about that with another designer a couple of weeks ago. It's like sometimes we have a hard time showcasing ourselves and outside behind our work, and it gives an aspect, a realness of being like, this is someone's perspective, this is someone's viewpoint, you know. And how do you feel about that transition of like kind of putting yourself more at the forefront?
I guess I don't have a problem with it. I think maybe I do like it. I like it better because I know what I like for myself. It's like, I know what angle I like specifically for me. So I can gather that and kind of sit there and like, okay, I was doing this last time, now I got to do this, or whatever movements I need to do. The only thing I don't like doing is the setup, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like, I've got to create a whole background, or I've got to, versus like just going out and taking pictures. It's like, I've got to create it within these 4 walls of my house. So
yeah, it's harder. I feel like it poses a different challenge, you know, for creators and artists, and instead of being able to have the environment, you know, create an experience and emotion in you, and then you're like, now I have to do everything from A to Z and create the experience for someone to view it in my head, you know. Well, what is like your creative process? Like, do you have a process you get into things when you're going to go out and shoot something or create this environment in your house, or, you know, even before pre-COVID, like, was there a process for you?
I don't know. I pretty much just go with the flow. And it's like, I may have I may have an idea in mind, and it's like I'm full force going to try and go for that. But I don't know how to explain my creative process per se. I'm very minimal in regards to equipment. Like I don't personally have a whole lot of stuff, and I also don't want to use just a whole lot of items. It's just like I want kind of the bare minimum where it's like I can perfect this with what I have, and then later on it's like maybe I could grow, I could get something newer or different, and then fully learn that. I think it's very important. It's like, don't go out and spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a new camera or a new laptop or whatever, when it's like you may still have a good product in front of you that you just haven't fully utilized and learned yet. So literally, I don't use any like Lightroom or editing software on my computer. I don't want to spend any extra money on it. I hate being on the computer because it's like I'm on the computer all day at work as it is. So my setup is I've got my camera, I've got my phone, and then I've got this thing is a lifesaver, a dongle that you put your SD card in. Plug it in your phone, and I just do all my editing on here because I'm like, I can email you the pictures, I can Dropbox them, I can post them, I can do whatever I want. So
what is your favorite app right now? What are like your favorite apps to edit?
Hold on, I gotta look at my phone.
As I always I have a top 5 and 10 that I always share, especially for other designers. Like, you need to have this on your phone. Like, what are yours?
Yeah, I've got a variation. Everyone's got VSCO, so like they've got great presets and all that sort of stuff. But FACETUNE, I'm very light when I use that. It's like, don't put everything at 100% so you look like a painting or whatever.
Not real,
Yeah, exactly. I use an app called Retouch, and that is, out of all the apps that I've used, it's the best one for erasing things in the background, because it's pulling the colors from the pixels, and they're generating, and it blends so well. So that's the one I recommend. It looks like a green pencil that's swirled up.
We'll have that in the description below. We'll put all the apps in there for sure.
And then if you want like a film kind of look, NOMO, NOMO is what I like to use. But a lot of these, it's just like so much layering. It's like I edit in this first, and then I transfer to this, and I've got a certain format, and it's like I may have to even go back into it again to solely get what I want. But I want to say, I guess those are the ones that I'm using right now. I've got just so many on my phone, because it's like, I may use this only one time for this specific thing, but
I know I'm always uploading and downloading apps and getting ready. I'd be like, why did I was like, I remember I used this for I wanted to reverse. I had a video and I wanted to reverse it coming backwards and edit it specifically the way that I wanted to. And then I never used it again. And I was like, okay, uninstall.
There's one that I had to download for a client. They're like, we want a GIF. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't do this, whatever. So then I downloaded an app to do it, and then I've never used it again since then.
Yeah, and it's crazy how technology has changed the way that we do things, and we constantly, it's so accessible. It's at our fingertips. It's we can edit things, like you said, in a much more simplistic way than having to have, this entire studio lit for, I gotta zoom it, have all the bright lights so I can zoom in on this one picture on this 15-inch screen and edit and edit and edit. So I love that process is more simplistic and minimal.
Yeah. I'm just so used to doing it on my phone now. It's so easy for me, because I can do it anywhere. It's like sitting in my car waiting for my friends to roll up at the restaurant, or if I'm in a waiting room, it's like I just can sit here and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not wasting any time. I'm trying to utilize it all.
It's efficient, yeah.
And when I get home, I'm like, I don't want to sit here all night and just do this. So
learning to have that that freedom and that balance, and that's such a unique aspect of technology. We can take it with us. It can go anywhere. Well, what are some of your artistic influences? you have like this. Nashville's such an unique experience of living here and being here. Does it influence the way that you capture things? Does the city influence you in any way?
Um, I would say so. It's very, each city, it's like when I go and visit or whatnot, it's like
Mm-hmm.
they do have a different perspective in regards to photography and what they deem as beautiful or what they just want to showcase. So Nashville, it's very blogger lifestyle oriented. So it's
Yeah.
like I mean, that's the community here. That's the content that, I'm going to shoot, especially for clients, because that's what they're looking for. It may not be my thing personally, but I mean, it does make an influence because it's like, well, now I know how to do this.
Yeah.
I've got a bunch of friends that live in Detroit, and theirs is a moodier look. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but then it's also just like the way that the city looks and operates. Like there's
Yeah.
a strong pride, and then the architecture is just so much older there versus
Well, it's
Nashville.
more industrial than
Yeah,
Nashville.
exactly. So I think, yeah, it can influence the vibe for sure. And where I live, I'm in Spring Hill, so I'm like 45 minutes south of Nashville. So it's like kind of country down here. So the demographic
I
down,
grew up in the country.
yeah. But it's like the demographic of people down here, if they want to book a shoot, it's like, well, I want to go to a farm, or I want to do this, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. It kind of like at different like tidbits and influences appear in your work of like what element and environmental element. Yeah, Nashville has definitely grown to be like a different type of city. And I'm from Tennessee and born and raised here, and I've only lived in Nashville 5 years, but I remember coming here 15, 20 years ago, and it was just this small little town, and it's crazy how much it's changed
Oh yeah,
in the
every
last 6 years.
weekend it's like when I go out now, I'm like, was that here? Like I don't.
All those on West End, all those buildings up West End. I'm like, where did those come from? All
Yeah,
the new high rise. Remember, it was like a big pit for probably 50 years, and we were like, the pit's never going to change.
yeah.
And all of a sudden, these buildings just pop out of nowhere, and you're like, what?
I'm so surprised that what is it, 440 is finally done.
I never thought that was going to be done. That used to be my route to work last year, and I hated it. It was
Yeah,
awful.
it's so funny because I'm like, oh, of course they complete the interstate now when everyone's working from home.
And nobody needs it.
No,
I was in a one lane for 45 minutes, and I only lived 15 minutes away every day. It was awful. Until I moved over here. So I'm like in 8 South now. So because I lived out in Brentwood, and it wasn't like too far, but it was far enough to be like, oh, this is miserable.
yeah, I get it. Yeah, traffic sucks.
Yeah. Hopefully it won't be bad once like COVID is over, and now that hopefully they'll get all the construction done, because right now I feel like we're in a construction city.
Yeah.
Ugh. Well, what keeps you motivated? Like how do you stay motivated to create new ideas or aspects of your work, or constantly looking for new outlets, or for clients and stuff? Like what keeps you motivated to be creative?
I want to say two things right now,
Okay.
and one is my friends because it's
Mhm.
let's just have fun, like
Yeah.
let's do this, let's goof off, and you learn different techniques just that way, just practicing, like constantly just going out and practicing. The other thing is TikTok.
I
I'm
might not be around.
correct, yeah. So I'm obsessed with TikTok, and everything is curated towards you. So it's like, yeah, I get the funny videos and all that stuff, but then it's like now I'm getting all these photography videos and like different ways to shoot and edit and different styles. I'm like, oh, I would have never thought to do that. So it's like I gotta try that now. And I'm like, now I'm grabbing my friend. I'm like, oh, we gotta go out and do this. So but yeah, I think I mean TikTok I think has such a huge influence on people. It will suck if it goes away. I don't think it will, but I can appreciate that platform for sure.
How do you feel about Instagram Reels now that's launched?
It's going to be different. I think if TikTok gets banned or whatever, people may utilize it for the TikTok purpose, like as a replacement, but I can't see it going that way. I think it's just more curated content. It's just a different version of
I
content.
mean, Vine disappeared.
Correct, but then when Vine disappeared, where did you go?
Snapchat, I guess.
Yeah, but Snapchat's not viral videos or like,
I know, and then I guess TikTok, yeah.
but it's just like Vine disappeared and then you were kind of sitting there for a couple of years like, well, I've got nothing to watch, and everyone goes back to YouTube, but that's such a longer format.
Yeah.
And I think when TikTok came out, well, actually it was Musically first, but when it changed into TikTok, everyone's like, it's Vine again, like it's back, and
Yeah.
people can appreciate it because it's different. It's not 7 seconds, it could be up to a minute. There's all sorts of different content, just like DIYs and just funny stuff, but it's quick enough that it gets to the point. So I think Instagram possibly could be that way if it disappears, but I also think I'm like, other people want to have a specific different platform or app to go to. It's like they're
Yeah.
already on Instagram all day. It's like, do you want to continue to stay on it? It's like you want to leave it and go to somewhere else.
And need a break or change up the perspective,
Yeah, because it's like now it's like I can go to Facebook for videos. I can search jobs on Facebook. I can look where to register to vote. I've got the news on Facebook. I've got like, and it's so much in one app, and it's just become like this huge monopoly. And I mean, Facebook owns Instagram too, so they're just doing the same thing, but they're just adding more and more to this.
It'll probably eventually have to get broken up, just like anything else. And you can't be an overarching monopoly across the world. They're going to probably split it at some point.
Yeah, it's interesting, but with the Reels, I think it's just going to be more curated content for your profile. It's going to be similar to your photos or your IG lives or TV or whatever. It's just going to be just another thing that you can put on there. Mm-hmm. I'm already thinking of like, like the bloggers are just going to go out and make these, cute videos or whatever for a couple seconds long and post it on their Reels. That's all I can see it being on Instagram.
Yeah. We'll see what happens in the next 6 months, if the government locks it down or what. We'll have to wait until after politics, until after the presidential election. I think once everything kind of gets past that, it will die down.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, we'll see. I don't know. The world.
I'm over it. I'm ready for the next. Well, what are some of the biggest obstacles you've faced in your career so far? Learning and growing as a creator, editor, like what are some of the biggest things that you've kind of come in contact with that have been a challenge for you?
Probably just like justifying your worth. Mm-hmm. You don't have to say yes to every opportunity that.
Preach.
So there was when I was doing Instagram, well, I'm still on Instagram, but like when I was doing the Instameets, and then my account kind of blew up because I became a suggested user. I was getting tons of emails from companies, and they're like, we want to do this, we want to do this. I'm like, I don't know if I want to, and then I don't feel like I need to say yes to all these opportunities, because sometimes I feel people may be using your platform for their own gain, and that's fine, if you're charging and that's in the contract or whatnot, but you don't have to say yes to every opportunity. And you have to also just look at just the numbers and see if it really matches up with your time and what all you're contributing into it.
I feel like it loses a little bit of the artist's expression.
Oh yeah.
It becomes more of like a job than something that's like a self-expression. You're trying to create a point of view, for other people to experience.
Yeah, and that's how I felt for the longest time. It's just like, I don't want to do anything like that. It's like, this is more, it was originally just a hobby for me. So, and it just kind of transformed into, well, I could make it into a career, but I always kind of sit on the side of like, I don't want this to be my primary career either,
Yeah.
because I do enjoy it and I don't want to get burned out of it. And
Mhm.
then also it's kind of, it's not, it's good money, but it's not as stable also.
Yeah.
So like now it's like, well, who's booking a photo shoot right now? So I still have my income that I'm still gaining from just being in the medical field right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's difficult. I've literally struggled that with the last year. I had to stop looking at everything as a business and get back to what it really meant to me as like an artist, and having conversations with people, and the realness of everything. And it's okay to shift, and it's okay to, like, I can take a step back. I've had to learn a big lesson too myself. It's been hard.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I mean, you're gonna succeed, you're gonna fail, and you learn so much more from your failures.
Yeah. And just, you have to keep growing and learning and moving forward.
And then it's also like, I would say it's important to not just focus in one category. You gotta expand yourself and diversify things. So if you're advertising through one platform, or you're only used to shooting this one way, it's like, well, you got to break it up just a little bit, so you've got experience and you're not stuck, because someone else can master that field too. So it's like, well, who are you going to go to then?
Yeah. Yeah. Diversifying. I love that. It's like what is it called in high school? Best all around.
Oh yeah.
I was best all around in high school.
Oh, I don't know what I was.
I think that was me and some other, I don't even know who the guy was with me. There's so many, was it superlatives?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I haven't been in high school in a long time. Let's not go there. Well, let me know I love asking this question of everybody. And what would be like an ultimate dream project for you? Talking about that, having like unlimited resources, unlimited time schedules, or expectations of people, for a client or anything. Like, what would that dream project look like for you as a photographer editor?
Well, I really want to do. Um, I really want to create an agency,
Okay.
and not like a modeling talent agency. I want to do like agency for photographers, graphic designers, videographers, because it's specifically for Nashville, because I know so many different creatives, and I don't think, I can take good pictures, but I'm like, I don't think I'm the best. And
Mhm.
I can see so many other people that are great in what they do. And I think what would be great is if I created this agency and you came to me with an opportunity, and like whatever it could be. I want to make a music video, and I want it to be a space galaxy theme, you know,
Yeah.
whatever. And it's like, well, I know exactly who to contact. I'm going to contact my friends Samantha and Kira, and they're going to be the ones to make that vision come to true. Because I know specifically everyone's kind of category of their art form, and what work they do. So I
Mhm.
know the right people to fill that project. So that's what I would like to do. I'd rather be a connection person, because I just know so many people in this community here.
Yeah, it's like almost like not per se like a traditional creative agency, but almost like a creative network.
Yeah, yeah, and I've talked with one of my friends about doing it, but then we're trying to figure out. It's like, do you handpick creatives, or do you have them approach you? Like, how do we create this service where it
Mhm.
utilizes everyone and everyone's happy in the end? But I don't know. It may be in the works one day. We'll see.
I
But
have a list of designers if you need a list of designers.
okay, okay.
Beginning to end, editors, graphic designers, animation, you name it. I know all the designers in town. So
There we go. So I think that would be cool. I've seen like a couple other kind of companies do it, but maybe it's more like a national level. And I just rather have something a little more local based. And it's like, we could grow from there. But I just know so many people here that I'm like,
Mhm.
they could be utilized so well for these specific opportunities. And like, as long as it comes across and I can read it, I'm like, I know who to sign this project to.
It's a true experience because you're cultivating the people that are already here, that are local, and they know the environment, and they know works here.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more directive than having something like, I guess, larger scale, and they think of you as like a number, you know? Yeah, I love that. Well, I can't wait to see that to come through fruition in the next year. I'm gonna be on the lookout.
Okay.
No pressure. Well, what is one thing that you have learned throughout your career that has really stuck with you, you know, as like advice or something you've learned? Like, what is something that's really kind of resonated with you through the years?
Probably to just kind of like be prepared and um, understand your time.
Yeah.
Time is so valuable. So like just like be prepared, like always carry around an extra charger, an extra SD core or SD card, extra clothes, like
It's hot. It's hot here.
you know. So there's just like so many things, just always make sure you've got extra crap just in your car wherever you go. And then just like to value your time. It's like I'm going to be driving an hour here and I may shoot there for 2 hours. And then afterwards, I'm going to be editing for another couple days or couple hours. And you have to recognize the value in that. It's not, it's the art form, but then there's so much more behind it. And you have to, when you're creating price points or when you're communicating with clients or even friends, it's like you have to value my time.
And the experience that you've gained, you know?
Yeah. So one of my friends actually just texted me the other day and she's like, I have a friend who's reaching out to me. She wants to do photos and I'm just trying to figure out how much to charge. I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, I sent her like 5 questions. I'm like, I want you to answer all of these. I'm like, you know, what are you supplying them? How long are you doing it for? What's your commute there? You know, how many locations are you doing? How many outfits are you doing? Like this stuff all adds up. So you need to factor in the value of your time because you can't get your time back.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a hard thing to learn, especially as a creator. You just want to produce for free because it's fun to you. But like you said, you need to value who you are as like an artist and providing a service for them.
Yeah.
And it's a learning curve for a lot of
Yeah.
us.
You have to make it worth your while. And then, like I said, don't be afraid to say no. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't want to do it, then don't do it. Don't feel obligated or forced to do it. There's
Mhm.
been a couple opportunities or you know, messages from people. And when communicating, I'm like, this is a little sketchy or inappropriate. And like, I don't feel comfortable doing this anymore. So I'm just like, I'm just going to say no. And then, you know, they may get aggravated or there may be some backlash from it. But then it's like, hey, I'm like, nothing happened. So there's really kind of nothing to complain about, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I
It's
just,
the power of saying no, you know? Gosh, it's such a pivotal thing to learn and being able to it's taking control of who you are and what you do and like where you want to go, you know?
yeah.
I love that. Well, last thing, what is one quote that you, Alex, the photographer, editor, creator, want to leave with anyone else who is either, you know, trying to learn or grow or get in the industry? Like, what's one thing, the quote that you would say to them you want to leave them with?
Quote.
Another quote or just a saying or something, you know, like.
Um, just appreciate others. Get to know everyone, you know, go out there, don't be afraid to meet people. It's just always like, you know, we're told to not meet people from the internet, and all my friends are from the internet
Oh,
basically.
it's not stranger danger anymore, but
So yeah, it's easy. I think it's easy to read people now. And you know, always bring someone with you if you're uncomfortable with that. But I do encourage you to go out and meet people, meet other creatives, because it does make you more creative. It gets you out of your comfort zone of whatever, shooting or editing or styling or whatever it could be, because you're going to challenge yourself, they're going to challenge you, you're going to challenge them. So I just encourage you to go out and meet people, because it's just going to make you a better, more well-rounded person.
I love that. I love it. Well, when COVID stops, we'll have
Correct.
to go back to some Instagram meetups and go on meetup.com.
Yeah. So, and if you go out, wear a mask,
Yes, be safe.
Bring some Durmex,
I spray anybody that comes within like 2 feet. I'm like, back up. I have no shame about it.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like, if I go out, I'm like, well, I never really walked up to people anyway, so I'm like, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing, and I'll say my distance.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for coming on this episode. I loved hearing about your journey and like who you are as an artist. I really appreciate you taking the time to join us and talk about it.
Of course, thank you. I appreciate it so much, and I can't wait to see you soon.
I know, right? When we can get back out in the real world, and we'll have to go and meet up with Christy, our other photographer friend, and get drinks.
Yes, of course.
Well, let everyone know where they can follow you, heart you, subscribe, like you, and share all the things, Alex.
Mr. Ciaramitaro is my handle on everything. MrCiaramitaro. It's my last name. I'm on
Such a fun last name.
Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, everything, whatever account that you go up, you can just search that name, it'll be registered. So mostly Instagram's just photography stuff, Snapchat's all my drunk friends, and Facebook's for my family and pets. So
I love it. I'm gonna have to go snap you and follow you. I want to see all the fun adventures.
There we go.
Well, thank you again, everyone, for joining us on this episode. Make sure that you are following and subscribing all things The Design Therapy on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and also at my website at thedesigntherapy.co. Thank you again so much, and I hope to see you around. Bye.
Bye.